Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see you today. My name is Julia de Betancourt, and I am the Executive Director of Arts Education for Chicago Public Schools.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicole Upton. I'm Ingenuity's Managing Director, and we are here this morning to welcome you to the fourth annual, we were doing the math this morning, our fourth annual Joint Arts Education Conference, Rest and Renew.
We are so grateful to be able to share space with you today. This year has truly tested all of us. We've been pushed beyond the fringes of our expertise, relearning how to make arts education happen for all of our students.
You have weathered so very much as individuals, as school communities, as organizations, and collectively as humans. Your resilience and your continued commitment to arts education is nothing less than awe-inspiring.
Unfortunately, we know we are coming together today amidst another moment of crisis for our nation and for our city of Chicago with the shooting of Adam Toledo. As we struggle to make sense of this moment, we must prioritize our own wellness and self-care.
So we invite you to engage with us today in whatever way feels most authentic. We will ensure that all of you have access to all of the session materials, so if at any moment today you would like to step away, please do.
Today is all about rest and renewal as an arts education family, with arts teachers and arts partners here in the same virtual space. We hope that today is restorative and generative for each of you.
And with that, we want to acknowledge and celebrate this amazing conference leadership team. Courtney Cintron, our incredible manager of partnerships and learning at Ingenuity, spearheaded this event for us and worked very closely alongside the DAE team to develop and execute today's conference. Thank you, Courtney.
And we would not be here today without the dynamic and tireless work of Rachel Claff, the DAE's Manager of Professional Learning, and that of Lillian Blazer, our Professional Learning Specialist. We also want to thank the entire Ingenuity and DAE staff for their support and technical assistance today, making our virtual conference run as smoothly as possible and feel as though we are truly here in person.
And with that, we're ready to get started. We'd like to hand things over to Courtney to get us kicked off. Courtney.
Thank you, Nicole and Julia. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be in community with you today. Thank you for being here. We would also like to begin today's gathering with a land acknowledgement to recognize and honor Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of this land, and as a step toward correcting the practices that erase Indigenous peoples' history and culture, and toward inviting and honoring the truth. So we'd like to acknowledge that this virtual conference is taking place on the stolen land of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, and Odawa nations. Many other tribes, such as the Miami, Ho-Chunk, Menominee-Sauk, and Fox, Kickapoo, and Peoria nations, also called this area home. Because of the Great Lakes, the land naturally became a site of travel, of healing, of trade and gathering for more than a dozen other Native tribes. The state of Illinois is home to over 75,000 tribal members, and Chicago is home to the sixth largest urban American Indian community that still practice their traditions and care for the land, waterways, and the cosmos. We also acknowledge that these lands are the traditional birthright of Indigenous peoples who were forcibly removed and who have faced centuries of struggle in the wake of displacement, violence, and dispossession. As we begin this program, let's honor these ancestral grounds that we're standing and occupying and begin to rethink and reflect on our own relationship and responsibility to this land and its original peoples. Thank you. I'm going to pass it over to Rachel Claff to do a check-in.
Good morning, everyone. We're so glad to be here with you today. We'd like to start by checking in with you all. We're going to see where your heads and hearts are at the beginning of this event. We know there are quite a lot of you here, and we wish we could connect in person, obviously, and hopefully we will soon. It feels like there are lights at the end of the tunnel. But in the meantime, we would love to just do a brief check-in with you through this waterfall activity. So what we'd like you to do, if you have the capacity, is to first set your chat to panelists and attendees to be able to send messages to everyone. And then what we'd like you to do is to type a word or a phrase that describes how you're feeling right now, but don't hit send yet. And when I say go, we will send them all together in a waterfall so that we can see everyone's responses. So just take a moment to type your word or phrase. Don't think too hard, just whatever your gut is telling you. And once you're ready, I will give the signal and we will send our waterfall. 1, 2, 3, go. Thank you, everybody. We are going to check back in with you at the end of the closing session to see if your thoughts have changed at all. So we hope if you're feeling positive today, you carry that energy and enthusiasm into your sessions. And if you're not feeling so great, we see you and we hope that today lifts you up and refreshes you. I'm going to turn things back over to Courtney to talk about our conference values today.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So the following rest and renew values, although they're not exhaustive, are ones that we would like to hold extra space for today and lift up as an offering as we move through the day. So beginning with rest. Rest is a key value of this conference. It's not about attending all of the sessions or doing the most. You'll notice that we didn't program out this event and it's just a half day. So throughout the day, we invite you to take rests and pause when you need to. We see rest as essential to well-being, as necessary to re-engaging, healing, and important to resisting societal programming that has conditioned us into wearing ourselves out. Self-care. So this really means we're creating space for and encouraging you to take time to pay attention to you today, your energy, time, health, and mental and emotional state. We invite you to engage in the activities of the day, but we also encourage you to do what you need to do to nourish your mind, your body, and spirit. That might mean stepping away from your computer and disconnecting for a bit, taking time to ground yourself, for self-reflection, for journaling, taking a bio break, or whatever else that might look like for you. Community care. We also value community care and how we show up for one another and acknowledge that self-care is not possible without community care and vice versa. Community care can mean listening to others, building supportive and reciprocal relationships, having a vulnerable conversation, pursuing connection with others, leveraging one's own privilege to share support, or finding common ground. It also places an emphasis on joint accountability with the aim of collective empowerment. And finally, renew. So today we hold space for renewal, rebirth, creative regeneration. As we move into spring, we're also reminded of the many possibilities and the paths that are before us. And we invite you to dream and vision with us today and collectively imagine the future of arts education with renewed hope and spirit. Okay, moving on. Thank you so much. I'm going to just, before we move into the heart of this morning's presentation, I'm going to provide you with a brief look at the arc of the day and the sessions that you will be able to engage in throughout. So opening this year's conference and riffing on the theme of rest and renew is Heather Robinson, Executive Director of the Jazz Institute of Chicago, renowned cellist Tomeka Reid, and student and pianist at Whitney Young HS, Devin Shaw. Heather will share personal insights on how she has survived and thrived this past year, leading an organization and family of 5. And Tomeka and Devin will musically reflect on and improvise on the theme in response. I won't give away too much more, so stay tuned because they will be coming up really shortly here. Then following the keynote, we'll have a brief break, and then from 9:50 to 10:50 a.m., you'll be able to select one of 4 rest and renew sessions to attend. Then those same sessions will repeat again from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So all in all, you'll have an opportunity to select a total of 2 sessions to attend. And then from 12:10 to 1 p.m., we will meet you back here for closing remarks and a closing presentation featuring the CPS Arts Student Voice Committee. So also throughout the day, you can feel free to return to this room at any time, take a rest, a stretch, a pause, and connect with others. We will have a Rest and Renew playlist playing in the background, and members from both the Ingenuity and DAE teams will be available to help provide any support in navigating the sessions or answering any of your questions. Okay, so let's take a look at today's 4 sessions. So once again, these sessions will be taking place from 9:50 a.m. to 10:50 a.m., and they will repeat again from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So in Breathing to Create Change, led by CPS dance teachers Elisa Fauché, Gina Spears, and MK Victorson, you will be provided space to reflect on the school year as a group and then experience a guided movement meditation using breath as a tool to boost as well as balance energy. In Creative Connections, led by CPS music teachers Janai Jenkins, Frank Kadamatori, and Leo Park, you will have the opportunity to explore the power of music as it connects with art, poetry, and social emotional learning. And Once Upon Our Time capsule, led by Chicago Children's Theater, teaching artists Lizzie May, Terry Guest, and Micah Figueroa, participants will be guided through the process of honoring and releasing the past year by creating and sharing a time capsule of your strength and bravery. And in Write It Out, led by multidisciplinary artist Rhonda Wheatley, participants will be able to explore journaling as a multifaceted tool for healing, growth, and personal transformation, and work through blocks and limitations. So there is quite a bit of a choice to make there. And then we will be reconvening back here at 12:10 p.m. once again, and we have an equally exciting closing session in store for you. So CPS music educator Dave Stahlberg will welcome us back and help us get centered in the space by facilitating a guided breathing technique and meditation. And then the conference planning team will lead an activity to collectively engage in reflections on the day's events, set intentions for care, and create messages of encouragement. And finally, the CPS Arts Student Voice Committee, a group of CPS high school students who work with the Department of Arts Education to discuss, create, and strategize for improving arts education in Chicago Public Schools, will guide us in celebrating the day with a creative presentation that pays tribute to you and your strength and persistence. The presentation will also feature an original conference theme song by pianist and songwriter Cole DeGenova, with lyrics inspired by the Student Voice Committee. So I'm going to hand it off to Lillian Blazer from the Department of Arts Ed now to tell you how you will be able to navigate to all of these amazing Rest and Renew sessions.
Thanks, Courtney. Good morning, everyone. So here are the ways that you can navigate the sessions after the keynote is complete. Option 1 is to access the Zoom confirmation email, and then option 2 is to click on the join links in the conference brochure. The Zoom conference email you all received contains the join links for the Rest and Renew sessions. Notice here how the join links are under the Rest and Renew sessions and time and just above the session description. To navigate to the closing session, you will need to use the same unique join link that you used to access this keynote presentation. Additionally, we've created a brochure that includes all the Rest and Renew join links at the top of each page. Notice here how the join links are just above the session description and in the purple box. This brochure does not have the unique link you will need to get into the closing session. You'll need to use your confirmation email to be able to access the closing session. If you need help at any point during the day, you can always come back to this webinar room where conference team members will be on standby to provide support. We also welcome you to share moments, highlights, and clips from today's conference on social media using our conference hashtag. So hashtag ArtsEdConShy, which will be dropped into the chat. You can also tag us on Twitter and Instagram when you post, and those handles will also be dropped in the chat. So now I'm pleased to hand things over and to Joanna Soltis to introduce our keynote presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joanna Soltis. I am a junior at Jones College Prep, as well as a member of the Art Student Voice Committee. a group of diverse CPS high school students that work with the DAE to improve arts education across the district. I'm very pleased to introduce our keynote speakers for the conference. Heather Ireland Robinson is the Executive Director of the Jazz Institute of Chicago. Born and raised on the South Side, Heather's nearly 20-year career in Chicago has included leadership, programming, and management with some of the city's foremost institutions. She is also a writer, storyteller, and educator. She has developed a multitude of teaching workshops, and her plays and performances have graced stages across Chicago. Heather is joined by two performing artists today. First is cellist and composer Tomeka Reid, whose talent has earned her great acclaim in Chicago's jazz and improvised music community over the last decade. She has released several albums with the Tomeka Reid Quartet and has been a key member of ensembles that have included jazz legends and emerging visionaries alike. Our second artist is the student pianist Devin Shaw, who is a senior at Whitney Young High School and a member of the Jazz Institute's Jazz Links Student Council. He studies piano under Jim Barbick at Whitney Young, studied classical music at Merritt School of Music, and pursued jazz studies with the Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestra and Ravinia Jazz Scholars. We are very lucky to have all three of them here with us today, so please welcome Heather, Tomeka, and Devin.
That was Tomeka Reid, renowned cellist, and Devin Shaw, CPS, Whitney Young High School student, also a part of the Jazz Institute of Chicago's Jazz Links programming. And excuse me while I gather myself, that was a completely improvised piece. Devin and Tomeka have never met before, met 30 seconds ago. And that is what can happen. The power of jazz, and dare I say, the power of a good arts education. They're going to join us later again. They're going to listen to the words that I'm going to be sharing with you over the next few moments, and then they're going to improvise another piece of music in response. So thank you, Devin, and thank you, Tomeka. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the backdrop of loss and hurt in our communities that we find ourselves in. Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Ireland Robinson. I, too, am a proud Chicago Public School graduate, Whitney Young and Turner Drew Language Academy. I'm also the executive director of the Jazz Institute of Chicago, and I'm here to talk to you today about resting, renewing, restoring, and your why. Why joy and fun should be important parts of your everyday. First of all, I'd like to give big thanks to Ingenuity for all you do for the arts and education and the youth and the teachers of Chicago. And thank you for having me here this morning. Nicole, Rachel, Courtney, and the crew, and of course the fam at CPS, including Julia and Melissa. I'd also like to give big thanks to Constellation. We are here at Constellation. We're streaming live. This was not recorded. The staff here, Mike Reed, Nolan, everybody. So please live vicariously through us. We feel incredibly blessed to be in this space after a year of not. Right? And thank you, everyone who's here in the audience, not just for being here early on a Friday morning, though I know you're curled up in your jammies with your favorite drink, and by drink, I mean your coffee. Thank you for holding it down and keeping the arts alive for kids and making creative opportunities for our city's youth. You are creators of joy. You are makers of possibility and expression, and you are oh so very necessary and so essential. At the Jazz Institute, we have a program called Noteworthy. It is a big band made up of CPS music teachers. Some of you all may be out there. Some of you may have friends that are in this band. And I always say when I introduce them or any of our education programs, our residency programs that we have in the high schools, I always say it takes a special person to be a musician, and it takes an extra special musician, insert artist here, to be a teacher. So thank you. We need you. The world needs you. Now, I stole that last line from Joan Gary. For those that don't know, Joan Gary is a nonprofit guru. Not only did she make the organization GLAAD a nationally recognized organization, for those that don't know, GLAAD used to stand for Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, but now they just call it GLAAD to hold space and be more inclusive of bisexual and trans people. So she made that a nationally recognized organization, but she and her now wife also led legislation for adoption for same-sex couples in New Jersey. So she fought to have her family and to make it possible for other people to do the same. So I not only love Joan because of this, not also because she wears bow ties and homage to the good humor man, but because her practical advice on managing nonprofits is concrete and clear. When days are rough, I think of the cover of her book and her inspirational phrase, "The world is counting on you." She says this so cheerily, but sometimes that line hits me a little different. And I read it as, "The world is counting on you." And I hear myself say, "Oh, snap." Or if we weren't on a CPS, I'd say, "Oh, something else." So the weight of the world is on our shoulders. And it can feel very, very heavy at times. And not just in work, but like every area of our lives. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I have a husband. I'm a sister. I'm an aunt, a friend, a cousin. I have to raise a lot of money and manage a lot of people. I have to keep the legacy of jazz music alive. I got to dismantle systematic racism. I have to be a Black woman and raise 2 Black boys in a pandemic, right? And you all likely have your things as well. Things that bring great joy and trial and tribulations and triumphs. As artists, as educators, as heads of arts and cultural organizations, we are leaders, and our job is to heal the world. And the world is also looking to us for direction on how to go and what to do and when to gather and how to gather. Mark Bamuthi Joseph, who is a poet, activist, and get this title, Vice President and Artistic Director of Social Impact at the John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. What a title and what a responsibility. He says, before any of my personal identity markers, I am human. I crave connection, safe, compassionate, and expansive human connection. As the country's traffic lights switch from red to yellow, and this was written a couple months ago, so I would also add and back to green and kind of to yellow and red again. Arts institutions should be in the crossroads of American culture, directing us how to walk toward healthy embodied connections. Artists should lead us in the literacy of post-COVID social interaction. I believe we must deploy artists as leaders as we collectively heal from the trauma of the pandemic. End quote. The world is counting on us. Oh, snap. But the one thing that keeps me going, one of the things that keeps me going, and I'll go into more later. I'm gonna give you tips and tricks. I love a good life hack. I love a good list. But for now, I wanna start with the why. Why? Why do we do this? When and how do we put our petty problems to the side and focus on that? And then when and how do we glorify ourselves, prioritize ourselves and our family or whatever is important to us, to you? Even if that's hitting logs with a shield or buying and coordinating a whole lot of plastic hair baubles, like a lot, but I'm gonna talk about that more later. To the first point, why? Before my life as an arts admin, which I chose because I love making it possible for artists and educators to spread the wealth of the arts, I was a theater gal. I got a master's in acting from DePaul University. I did a couple commercials. I even had a little tiny role one time on ER, but my favorite by far was storytelling. And just a quick housekeeping thing, I think we're adding pictures as I speak. So there's another square of photos that may be coming up, but if not, you can just hang on to my story. So one summer I was doing storytelling at Palmer Park in my neighborhood. My friend Kai and I were doing Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories. We were wearing these cool painted overalls with animals on them, and children from Chicago Park District summer camps would come and see the show. One of my roles in that show was the camel in How Did the Camel Get His Hump? Wonderful summer, being an artist, making a little cash, and really being in my shine. Well, a couple months later, I went to a currency exchange in my neighborhood. I was living in Woodlawn at the time. I go to the currency exchange, and there are 3 little boys literally climbing up the side of the currency exchange. Now, I pass this building a lot, and to this day, I can't figure out how they found the grapples, the holes, the footholds, but there they were, making the best use of this wall that they could. So I go in the currency exchange, do my stuff, come out, and one of them jumps down on the ground and looks me in my eye and says, "Hey, lady." And I was like, here we go. Here we go. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Ain't you that camel?" Why, yes, I am. I am that camel. And so what a community moment that was, that this little boy could see a famous actress right there in his very own neighborhood. But to me, it was a powerful connection of being in the community and sharing your gifts. Another quick story, I have a friend, Carla Stillwell, who's a playwright. Another friend who is a musician who writes music along with Carla. His name is Sean Wallace. And Carla had this play for kids called When Good Broccoli Goes Bad. And it was all about eating well, right? Complete with a R&B song by the Villain Corn Syrup. I'll just give you that. So please look up Carla. It's an excellent show for children. I went to see this show at the DuSable Museum. And at the end, the actors picked children out of the audience to be able to hold up pictures of fruit and walk on the stage. Can you imagine being in the audience and being selected by an actor to get to walk on stage? So the particular show I saw, everybody was doing their thing. Yeah, I got my grapes, I got my orange, but there was one little boy in the back who was holding up a picture of a banana as if it was an Olympic torch. We do it for them, right? We do it for that metaphoric kid climbing up the walls of a currency exchange, or a little boy so proud to carry a picture of a piece of fruit. Now, many of you all are artists as well, just like our noteworthy musicians that I mentioned earlier. And to bring them up again, I believe we have a photo of them playing at Haven, a club on the South Side, a couple of years ago. There's also another promotional photo of them all dressed up in their blacks and carrying their instruments. And one of the saxophonists is my son's music teacher, Mark Coulter, at Leonard. When I went to see Noteworthy perform, and I brought that photo back, I showed my son, who was in second grade at the time, and he looked at it and said, "Mr. Coulter is a real musician?" Yes. So being in Noteworthy really elevated Mr. Coulter in Damani's eyes. They saw each other again at my welcome party to the Jazz Institute of Chicago, and I took a photo of them. And I think even Mr. Coulter felt a little extra proud as they took that photo, and he saw Damani in a different way, and Damani saw him in a different way. So the why. What's your why? We do it for those who can't. We do it for those that don't even know they should, or don't even know that they can. This is our North Star. One thing that got me through my role as a cultural program specialist in the early aughts, late 90s, as a program specialist of the Chicago Park District at Gallery 37, what got me through the spreadsheets, the people that don't call back, the contracting, the budgeting, and all the hard work was the final showcase that we had every year at the Humboldt Park Stables, which is now the site of the National Museum of Puerto Rican Arts and Culture. Seeing the pride and joy of hundreds of teens and their hard work dazzling on stage definitely became my why. Now, for us, for you. With all of this responsibility, if I can't chill, who can? Like, if you can't rest, CPS teachers and artists and heads of arts organizations, who can? Like, who gets the privilege of a nap or a pause, if not us? The tagline, and now I use it kind of as a grant line, but the tagline for my children's theater company was, "The arts are a basic human right and an intrinsic human need." So for today, let's change that up a little bit and say joy is a human right and a human need, and fun is a basic human right and a basic human need. Rest, doing the things that make you happy, taking a break, being you, this all leads to authentic leadership, strength for the hard times, abundant creativity, and being closer to yourself and who you are. Fill your cup. You cannot serve from an empty cup. So sleep. Let's talk about sleep. Tricia Hersey founded a movement called the NAP Ministry. She is a theologian from Chicago, and she says that sleep and rest are a divine right. She also links it to practices of resistance and Black liberation theology. She uses rest as a form of resistance. And she says, we have a picture that says something different, but I really want to give you guys this quote. "We exist in a culture that supports sleep deprivation. We have been brainwashed by capitalism to work at a machine level pace and equate our worth with how much we can produce." So I want to encourage you all to visit her Facebook page. She's on sabbatical now, which makes sense, but they have a 1-800 number that you can call for positive messages about rest. And just how cool is that to have an 800 number that you can call and hear messages from? Sleep hygiene is a term. It was actually coined in the 70s, and it's really gained popularity recently. And not only does this mean turning off the electronics, establishing a bedtime routine, it includes treating sleep as a health priority like eating, like studying, even like your work. So if you start to think of sleep as an absolute necessity, it will make you not stay up, whether it's to binge watch The Crown, Hallmark Channel, or Queen Sugar, or even just to do work. If you start to recognize sleep as a non-negotiable part of your health, it's gonna help you go to bed. Here's another one. Find and create systems. Or let's start with know your triggers and know when you're headed toward a mental breakdown, even if it's small, or being off. I was pleased to moderate this summer an online panel about mental health in the pandemic. And one of the virtual audience members in chat asked Dr. Inger Burnett Ziegler, who is a Black woman PhD at Northwestern. They asked this question, what are some of the cues that you may be feeling off mentally and how can you stop it? And it made me pause because at the time I realized that over the past few weeks, I had been feeling, I have written here a little anxious, but I was feeling very anxious and very stressed out. But I thought I had to feel that way. I thought this is just how it is. The kids are home, we're in a pandemic. I'm supposed to feel this way, right? Wrong. To wit, I give you my fight with the printer. Okay, now, I mean a physical printer. So just like many of you, we bought a new printer at the start of the school year because, you know, remote learning and working. And I know a lot of you bought a printer because come Labor Day, there were no printers left and our pickings were very slim. So we grabbed what we could, we brought it home only to find out, don't know if you all know this, printers don't come with beautiful printed instructions anymore. You have to download apps. You have to print things from the internet, and it is hard. It's very hard. So I finally got everything to set up, only to find out there was nowhere to put the paper. I looked up, inside, outside, upside down, saw no place to put paper. Said bad words to the machine, said bad words to the app. Then I went to YouTube. I watched a 10-minute video, including unboxing, like they took the thing out of the box. They showed you how to plug it into the wall. And then they ended the video by saying, not doing or demonstrating, just saying. And then you put the paper in and you're ready to print. That did it for me. I lost it. I cussed out the machine. I cussed out the founders of YouTube. I cussed out Hewlett and Packard. And then everyone who could hear got cussed out. And I may have physically hard hit the printer. Yeah, so was not doing well. The other thing I noticed is that I turn into a monster at 9:30 p.m. I didn't know this until I realized how incredibly crabby I am as we get our 4-year-old daughter for bed. Like, this is supposed to be a peaceful bonding time. I just told you about sleep hygiene, but it became very stressful and anxious. And then it hit me. I turn into a monster at 9:30 p.m. It's like clockwork. So I decided to either stop it or get her ready for bed early. The other thing, she likes doing this thing where she pours water from cup to cup and mixes it with soap, and she calls it her look, mommy, I'm making my potion. Real creative, right? But at 9:30 at night, it's like, you know, fingernails across a chalkboard. But it's not her fault. Time to explore. That's Dr. Sears and all the books say, give her time to explore. Who am I to stop this in my child? So I either hide the cubs or I allow her time to do her thing. More on that later. We also start the process at 8 o'clock now, and I use her bath time to prep for the next day. 9:30 p.m. was a trigger for me. So I adjusted it for the betterment of the whole family, for her, for me, for everybody, and for my daughter's future as possibly a chemist. Another one, find and create systems and automize what you can. I actually learned this one in a leadership workshop on finances, and it's really worked in my personal life. I've heard of creative people who wear the same outfit every day. Designer Michael Kors wears a black t-shirt and a black blazer all the time. Google him now, you can see it. A woman who works in Silicon Valley ordered 5 of the exact same shirts from Zara and wore them exclusively. to cut back on the energy needed to make clothing decisions every day. Now, I love clothes, I love fashion, I'm not doing that, but sometimes I'll do a week, sweatshirt week, t-shirt week, or Wednesdays will be t-shirt and jean day or dress day. It just simplifies everything. When we got married, my stepson was 10 and we were doing a lot. We were rehabbing the house, new baby on the way, and I would make these complicated, varied meals each day because, you know, my new family, got to do things for my new family. And one day my husband looked at me and said, you know, we would be happy if you made spaghetti and chicken wings every week. And I was like, the same thing every week? And he's like, yeah, Wednesdays could be chicken wing, Thursday could be spaghetti. We like that. I also park in the same place at work every day. I don't have to wonder where my car is, think about it. So just think about what you can automate or simplify and don't deviate. Sometimes you're going to want to say, I know it's sweatshirt day, but that's the energy that it would take you off your plan takes too much time, and just stay focused. You made a plan, it makes sense. Go all in and enjoy your dumb thing. Abraham Piper is a TikTok guy. I don't really do TikTok, but my brother sends me these videos. Abraham showed this video of a man fighting logs with a shield. Hear what I'm saying. There is a video, you may have seen it because it's viral, of a man knocking down stacked logs with a shield. So we may have a photo of that. Now, I was going to show you all the video, but I'm glad I can't do it because every time I see it, I laugh, cry so hard. I'm not going to make it to the end of the speech if I were to show you this video. So this guy's gotten a ton of negative feedback online for this silly thing he's doing. But TikToker Abraham Piper has his back. He reminds us that everything is silly and looks stupid until it catches on and becomes popular. I give you baseball, hitting a ball with a stick and running around bases, scrolling on our phones, knitting, anything. We all start to love this shield guy because he's doing his thing with gusto. So go all in and enjoy your dumb thing. For me, it's hair baubles for my daughter. I love buying them, organizing them, doing her hair and matching them. She's been asking me for, and I quote, 100 braids with different colored barrettes like her friends at school. I'm not there yet, but I'm having a blast. And it's really not done because it's my daughter and it's her Black girl magic hair. And that's very important, but elevating it, claiming the whole hair tie barrette thing is so much fun. And I'm relishing in the shapes and the sounds and the organizing. And that's keeping me grounded, and I'm allowing it to become an adventure. I'm also totally into stickers, nail polish, and my Zoom background sets, like matching the flowers to the books to the everything. So have fun, do it well, go all in. And here's my favorite, people. I am in 2 Marco Polo groups. If y'all don't know Marco Polo, it's you can record short videos and share them to a group. So I'm in one with my brother and my younger cousins from LA. And I say younger because sometimes I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm kind of an invited guest, but they give me life. Making random videos, sharing thoughts with these cousins who I adore. I have one with some old theater friends. I have a text thread with other Black women who are in leadership and my travel girlfriends. These have been a lifeline for me. And if you're having a moment right now and you're feeling like, I don't have any people, seek some out. Make some new friends or reach out to some old ones. They're there. You deserve it, and it'll be great. I promise. Or if you prefer to be alone, do that too. But find your some people. Find some people. So how will you sleep this week? What fun, adventure, or quiet respite will you take? What will you do to honor and remember your why? And what will you do to get back to life when you start feeling off center? And by the way, the printer story, that's just it. I had a fight with the printer. If that's what you need to do to get it out, go ahead. But had I recognized in the moments leading up to that, I was feeling a little off, I maybe would have been able to adjust. But release, What are you going to do to get back to life when you start feeling off center? Whatever it is, make a video and send it to me or put it on the TikTok. I can't promise I won't cry, laugh, but if I do, you'll know you did the right thing. So thank you all again for all you do, for being here, for being who you are, for staying the course and fighting the good fight and being on the front lines to keep the legacy of arts and culture alive for our youth. Please enjoy the rest of this amazing lineup that's been put together for you. I would now like to welcome back Devin and Tomeka, who are going to play an improvised piece in response to what they just heard. Thank you all so very much. And now I give you Tomeka Reid and Devin Shaw.
feel like I need to stand up. That was just incredible. Tomeka Reid, Devin Shaw, and of course, Heather Ireland Robinson, thank you for that incredibly inspiring way to start our day. It was just beautiful to sit with that amazing music and reflection and opportunity to remember what it's like to listen and create. Thank you.